I was actually thinking about having a beer during the podcast.
You should have a beer.
Subscribe and share to support the show.
Shall we head to my favorite planet in the galaxy? The planet of good vibes. The planet of good vibes.
The planet of good vibes. The planet of good vibes.
It's time! All right.
I love humanity. I think it's great.
It's all good, man. I think the word you're searching for is Space Ranger.
The Hamm Planet Podcast.
We blasting off to the galaxy of good vibes. In approximately 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Top of the morning, folks. Good afternoon and good evening, ladies and gents. Welcome to the Hamm Planet Podcast. I'm your host, Peter Hamm. And if you're new to the show this evening, happy to see you. We are a show about three things, simple as that. Good vibes, great people, and glorious stories. And we have an abundance of glorious stories on the horizon for this mighty fine episode, ladies and gents. So if you're into that, make sure to stick around because it'll be a good one. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to have our guest here reporting live from Tanzania, which is in Africa. Not in Texas. It's in Africa, far across the ocean. He is a fellow COVID survivor. He is a fellow Culver Military Academy graduate. He is a sharp lad with a University of Richmond degree. And I like to say he is the modern day Tarzan. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for the one and only Benji Mavroudis. Fire me up.
Thank you very much for that introduction. Nice to be here. First podcast ever. So we'll see how it goes.
I love it. I love that mentality. Benji, how you feeling?
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Feeling good. Yeah, now I got my beer going. Nice Thursday night.
I call it podcast lube. Is a beer.
Yeah, that's what.
Or a liquor
exactly.
drink. Gets the talking molecules flowing in the brain, which is perfect for this occasion.
Yeah.
So Benji, just to rewind the clocks a little bit to introduce you to the audience and to let them know how this even came to be. A Texan is great friends and is calling a brother and is calling a man from Tanzania a brother. So it all started back when we met at Culver, and we were rugby teammates under good old Coach Knowlton, the Culver Military Academy. Shout out Coach Knowlton. I know you're listening to this one. We love you. And, a Texan, a Tanzanian became great friends, teammates, brothers amongst the cornfields of Indiana. And shared many great times and great games and great memories on the Culver rugby field. And here we are 10 years later, getting to catch up a little bit. But Benji, brother, you were from Tanzania, and you were the only person I know in my entire life who's from Tanzania. Brother, where were you born exactly?
Well, so the weirder thing is I wasn't born in Tanzania.
Right.
My family has been in Tanzania. My dad's side of the family for now almost like 70, 80 years. And then my mom's side of the family is from the US.
Love that.
But
Tanzania roots is what I meant to say. Tanzania roots.
Yeah. So my mom was a nurse in the US before she moved to Tanzania. So obviously, Tanzanian healthcare even now is not great. So Tanzanian healthcare in 1995 was really not great. So when I was born, my mom flew over to Cyprus, where my dad's family was originally from. And I was born there,
Cyprus,
and then
Cyprus,
Cyprus is
a city
just
in
another
Texas.
country, and
Oh, another there's a
no,
well, there's a Cyprus, Texas. Cyprus is
no,
a
no,
African country.
no. It's a European country. It's an island on the Mediterranean. Yeah,
See, brother, learning new things already. Us
yeah.
Texan folk, sometimes we just think Texas is the entire world, and it's
Well,
good
it
to
is. It is
learn these
there.
lessons. It's definitely there, and we let it be known.
Yeah.
So
So
going
yeah,
back to your parents' story, so how did they meet actually? Because then I know you'll come into fruition down the road, but
yeah.
how did they come together?
Um, so lived, my dad was born in Tanzania, um, and lived between Tanzania, Cyprus, the UK, and then moved back to Tanzania after his military service in Cyprus, and was around 22 years old, and then was a guide in Tanzania working for safari companies, different outfitters. And my mom was here just doing a trip from the US, and they met just somewhere in Arusha where I live. And she actually ended up just staying and not leaving after that trip. Met
Wow,
my dad here, and yeah,
so your dad must have really put it
yeah, I
on
guess,
her, impressed her. Was
yeah.
she there for like a mission trip or a vacation or
I think it was a mix of like vacation as well as like a bit of a mission, not church mission, but just like trying to
being a good
do
person?
some volunteer work. Yeah.
Love that. So was your dad like her safari guide?
No, he wasn't, but I think he worked for the same company that she was going on tour with.
Okay.
So they'd met somewhere where there was a mutual gathering between two groups or something. But yeah.
That's hats off to your dad. That's got to be impressive. Someone comes from America to visit Tanzania,
Yeah.
and then next thing you know, they're here. Where did you say
Yeah.
your mom was from again in America?
Massachusetts,
Ba Near Boston.
near Boston.
Shout out Boston. Good place.
Hmm.
Good town. Well,
Yeah, she's
brother.
actually moved back.
Oh, she did.
Yeah, she's outside of Boston again, like 45 minutes out of Boston.
Love that. Well, if you go visit, you're gonna be a little bit closer to all your American friends, which I know you've got a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Ben. So obviously, parents they they fell in love at that point or something like that, and then
Hmm.
you came into the equation, and you said you were born where exactly, brother man?
Limassol, Cyprus is the exact place.
Le-
Limassol is a town.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cyprus again is this is new geography for me, brother. So this
And it's an island in the Mediterranean. Yeah, maybe halfway between Greece and Turkey.
okay, sweet.
Right in the middle. Like it's a tiny little thing.
Just a little how long did you spend time there when you were
Like a
young?
like a month.
So you were just getting hey,
Just getting
we're
born.
gonna birth him here and then we're back
Yeah,
to
I never lived in
Tanzania?
Cyprus. Yep, back to Tanzania.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So that means you grew up in Tanzania. Will that be
Yeah,
accurate?
yeah. 100%.
Man, so what was that like? What are some of the things that you really remember growing up, like from your
Ooh.
childhood that were special in Tanzania?
Um, yeah, it's I mean, I know everyone thinks of Tanzania or Africa as just all wild and whatever, but it's not necessarily that. But
Right?
that being said, when I was growing up, maybe like between the ages of 5, 4, and 10, 11,
Mhm.
I live so close to a national park that we could have like a shower after school, get in pajamas, and then get in the car and go check out some animals, and then come back for dinner afterwards. Just for an afternoon cruise.
That's
See some
incredible.
elephant, yeah, giraffe, buffalo, all that. Yeah, it's pretty
And
crazy.
all fully wild. They're the real deal. This is where they were
Wild,
from,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
100%.
the United States. We obviously have to, these animals have to get captured and then taken to these zoos, which some are nice. I'll say shout out to the Fort Worth Zoo here in Texas. Great zoo, one of the top
Mhm.
ones. Um, but um, for any kid or anyone seeing those animals is always kind of a fascinating experience. But you don't get that true, genuine feeling of seeing
Yeah,
them um, like you do, and you still do to this day.
yeah.
So when you were a kid, did you have any encounters with any of these animals that you remember well?
As a child, I guess not so much. I guess my parents were pretty careful with everything when we were younger. Maybe
Probably
older.
smart. Want to keep the baby
Yeah, as
away
I
from
got
the
old.
lion.
Yeah, that kind of that idea.
Yeah, it's nothing worse than oh, honey, Benji, lion got him. That would be good. Uh, so brother, when we were growing up, were we homeschooled or did we go to a local, like
So
what's a
I went to an
school like
international school.
there? Okay.
Yeah, so actually quite a big international, oh, not big, but like quite a good international school here. Private school.
And
A
were
lot of
people there from all over?
Yeah, a lot of people from all over the world. Tanzania, Arusha, where I live, actually is, I'm sure you've heard of like the genocide in Rwanda.
Right.
Um, well, the main UN tribunal for all those court cases is based here in Arusha. So there's hundreds of families from all over the world working for the UN, and that's kind of a lot of the groups that I was with in school were from UN families, or some obviously that lived around here but wanted more of an international school
Lo-
background.
Love that. Love that. I
Yeah,
mean, that's you know, that's how I think of Culver. Like Culver was a place where people were from all over. For me personally, it was definitely like a shock, or not like a shock, but definitely different from where I'm born and raised, where everyone's Texan, everyone's conservative, Christian, going to church, eating McDonald's. Not to say everyone's the same, but we don't have that kind of international diversity. And
yeah,
with that comes an education in its own, and the fact that you got that from the jump, definitely, I could see that being very valuable, and was able to witness it when we got to Culver. So, Benji, when
yeah. No,
yeah, go ahead, brother.
no. I completely agree with what you're saying. That's it.
Love that. Well, Benji, when you were going to school, you play any sports before you got to Culver and played rugby with me?
Well, yeah, obviously played rugby here as well. Um, and then, well, because my school was pretty small
Right.
in terms of how many people were in each grade, we ended up having to play a lot of everything, not necessarily specializing in one sport, but you have to kind of just play every sport that's there because your school needs the numbers to make a team. So I
Right.
think I played a lot of random different sports at school. Nothing that I specialized. Mostly rugby. Rugby was my top, and then I played polo as well, both here and
That's
in
right.
Culver.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
you were
So I
good
was on the
you know
horseback.
how to
Yeah. So
You know how to spank that ball. I remember watching you.
Yeah.
So when did you start playing rugby? What age, Benji?
Hmm. Probably around like 12-ish, not so young. I mean, maybe I played some touch, but like actually doing a bit of training, 12, 13-ish. And
Is,
then, yeah, a couple of years in Tanzania and then on to Culver.
yeah. Is rugby a pretty big game in Tanzania?
Yeah, I'd say it's getting bigger. It's not like South Africa, not like any of those countries, but
Australia
it's
and
getting
England
no,
and
not like that. Not nearly. The big one is soccer here, football for us, but soccer for you guys. That's the big sport here, 100%. You're driving around, that's what you're seeing. People playing, that's what you're seeing. People watching. Yeah,
so I'm guessing the World Cup, everyone in
yeah,
Tanzania was like fully invested.
fully invested.
Yeah. Yeah.
Playing
Even
everywhere. Yeah,
just I talked to good old Pepe, Eric Modui,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and man, he was telling me, he's a rugby guy like us, and he just so invested in the World Cup. He's like, it's taken over my life, Peter. I can't, I can't really do much right now. I just got to watch and see what happens. But,
Yeah.
uh, brother, that's awesome. So, were you playing any soccer?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Definitely playing some soccer.
So that's where the boot came from, the old up and under,
Mm,
little
yeah,
grubber here and
mostly.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Definitely
got
came from
you
there.
got that. I definitely wasn't blessed with that capability. Uh,
Yeah.
love that. So we went to school in Tanzania all the way up until you were a junior, right?
Yeah,
Or did
junior
you?
was my first year. Junior was first year at Culver.
Yep, yep. So
Yeah,
that would be 2011, I think, if I'm
yeah,
counting right.
yeah.
And man, what was your first assessment of, we'll say, life in America when you first came?
Yeah, I had visited the US, my grandmother and my mom's side of the family a few times growing up, but not that much. But you watch a lot of TV. It's pretty much all based on American life.
Right.
Um, you kind of get the humor, at least. You get the kind of the conversation and that kind of thing from TV, internet, whatever it was in those days.
Right. It
Um,
was just getting
but
going back
then,
in those days.
but then also, uh, Culver is the craziest experience. Like that's not the regular
Oh,
U.S.
not by any
experience
means.
at all. Not like a high school U.S. high school experience at all. So
Not at all.
it was. I don't know. Honestly, I didn't even have time to think about it. As far as I can remember, it was just like you're gonna hustle now, and then
It's
you
like
hustle.
drinking from
That's it.
a fire hose.
Yeah.
Like when you get to Culver, they're like, cut your hair, shiny shoes. You're a new cat now. Go to the uniform
Yeah.
store. Here's your post box. Here's your
Yeah.
scarf. Here's your dresses. Put this on. I remember too. I was just like, shit, what I sign up for. This is a lot.
Yeah. Holy shit. Yeah.
And it's definitely
So
like a rite of passage for sure.
yeah. Um. So yeah. Then I didn't really have, I think, the as much culture shock as I would have, because everyone is also in the same boat there. Even though someone might be from Culver, Indiana as well, they're not
Right.
really having a comfortable time. They're not having a good time there. They're not in their comfort zone at all. So none of us were.
1000%. Yeah.
None of us were in our comfort zone. So you didn't really have anything to be jealous of necessarily or feel different about. Everyone's just kind of in the shit.
Yeah. We're all in this shit together. And
Yeah, exactly.
and the thing about it is, I know I'll just speak for myself, but definitely other Culver other Culver brothers and our Culver sisters as well. CGA, shout out to them. Um,
Yeah.
you know, Culver isn't an easy experience, but it's an incredible experience that is always cherished. Um,
Yeah.
and I feel like almost everyone I know who's been a fellow grad, they feel that way. And Ben, you at Culver were in the troop.
Yes.
I was in good old infantry, just holding a gun, nothing special. You though
Hmm.
played polo and were the Black Horse troop, which
Uh,
they
I
do
was,
the
yeah.
I'm gonna try and get this Culver fact right. They're always at the inaugural parade for president, or is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So I was in Obama's second inaugural parade.
Shout out Obama.
Yeah, as a random guy from Tanzania,
I'm surprised they
led
let you
by
in, brother.
a Mexican at the front. So it's all sorts of things going on there.
Uh, oh yeah. Yeah. Speaking of that, kind of the say the cultural dynamic of troop did have a
Yeah.
lot of Hispanics, did have a lot of people from all over, but definitely if you were to say we're the most Hispanic gentlemen at Culver, they're usually in the troop.
Yeah.
Um, did you pick up any Spanish while you were in troop, brother?
Not really, no. Maybe just some swear words most of the time.
Love the swear words.
Yeah,
They're the Spanish ones.
yeah.
They're pretty
But
fun.
it was difficult. They spoke so
So
fast, and 10 of them speaking at the same time, and you're just like, yeah, no chance I'm keeping up with this.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
B- Benji, I'll admit it. Like the first time I saw you, I was like, "Is he Spanish?" No, no, he's not. He's definitely he's definitely from somewhere else though. And then I got to know you, and then it's history from there. But yeah, they speak so fast. It's
Yeah.
every time I'm talking to a Spanish person, I'm like, pump the brakes, please. Like, can we slow down? Are y'all actually understanding what each other is saying right now?
Do you speak Spanish then?
No, nope. I'm just fluent in
Oh,
American and in Texan, brother. That's all
the
I
two
got.
important.
The two, they're, I mean, they're good for where I'm at. But speaking of languages, Vinci, do you you look like you know a few. Do you know more
No,
than English? Just
just
two.
yeah.
That's more than one, which would
It is more
be
than one. Swahili.
holy shit. That's amazing.
Yeah.
How do you say good morning, ladies and gentlemen, in Swahili?
Um, there's no real. I wouldn't say there's good morning. You would ask how your morning is. You habari za asubuhi means how is your morning.
One more time again, bro.
Habari za asubuhi.
Damn, that's impressive.
Habari za asubuhi wanaume na wamama. Yeah.
What is I'm probably like a kindergartner when it comes to Swahili because I don't know much about it. Like I said, I only
Hmm.
speak Texan and American. Um, obviously you have to somewhat like that language because it's stuck with you. So
Yeah.
what's something you like about Swahili?
Um. So even though I didn't really study it at school. I just picked it up from growing up here and speaking to people in Swahili. But because it's a very, well, not simple, but in terms of how you write it, it all is phonetic. So exactly what it sounds like, that's how you write it down. That's definitely by far the best thing. So even if you're just learning Swahili, you probably know how to spell the word. You know, if it
Right.
makes a k sound, it's a K. If it makes a sound, it's an A. Then S is an S.
So it's not super confusing like maybe Chinese or
No,
Japanese could be.
or even English. I mean, like you say psychology, and then you put a P at the beginning of the word. Like there's none of that.
And we're back, ladies and gents. Great to be back. Okay, brother. So we were
Yep.
talking a little bit of Swahili. Y'all's language,
Mhm.
seems, pretty straightforward. Y'all don't have random stuff like we have in English. Um, are you speaking Swahili on a daily basis?
100%. Almost probably equally to English.
Wow. Is there like Swahili English mix that's kind of used?
Yeah, 100. My friends within my friend group, because we mostly speak English, but there's just some things it's better to say in Swahili. So there is the mix for sure. And then at work, I'm fully almost 100% speaking Swahili.
And that's incredible. What would be something that you would prefer to say in Swahili, or it sounds better?
Hmm. Um,
Obviously, I'm sure this is maybe like between the boys talk with the friends.
yeah.
So if it's some
Um,
slang, let
but
it
even
rip
like
if you
something
want.
like there, no, there's a word like pole, Pole. By the way, the spelling is pretty straightforward as well. But
I
that
like that.
means like it means I'm sorry, but it also can mean like I'm sorry for you. So like if someone's feeling bad, if someone's sick, if you hit someone, if you bumped into someone, you can use that word for all those things. So if someone's like just in a bad mood, you can just say pole to them and just be like,
Totally.
yeah, I feel you, basically.
I
It's a good
like
one.
that. I do like that.
It's a
Like
good,
we need that for English because a lot of people just say, "Oh, I'm sorry" for just about anything. Canadians are well
yeah.
known for, "Oh, sorry, didn't mean to do it. Sorry," just all the
Mm.
time. And I feel you. I feel like it's good, but it's nowhere near as efficient as Pole. Saying it right?
Yeah, that's good.
I'm gonna start using that with everyone. They'll
All
be
right,
like,
good.
they're gonna be like, "What are you saying?" I'm like, "Gotta look up your Swahili." Okay, Ben. So after Culver,
Yeah,
would you say you had a good experience at Culver? Just to reflect.
yeah. No, I really liked it. I did I did pretty well with the military stuff. Did my early boards and was done with it. So I didn't suffer as long as other people did. Um,
Yeah, you absolutely did.
so that was good. And then I didn't do any more like chores and tasks after that first semester. So really, it was just one semester of roughness, and then it got better. So and then
Yeah,
after that, yeah, I really liked it. It's nice to have the contrast between suffering and then having fun. Like they made the weekends, I think, even better. Even though it wasn't that crazy what we were doing, we really, really enjoyed it.
yeah. We go to Papa's Pizza, get a chicken bacon ranch calzone, maybe have a rugby game.
Yeah,
Back of the bus, rugby stories. Those were always a good time.
always a good time.
So, brother, did you enjoy, not to put you on the spot, but did you enjoy rugby more at Culver or the polo?
Rugby for sure.
Love it.
Yeah, most of my friends were the rugby team. Polo team was they were friends for sure, but I wouldn't say other than living with them, in the same dorm, we went hanging out on the weekends and doing things
Yeah,
out in the fields, playing some touch rugby or frisbee or whatever it was.
yeah. That's the great thing about rugby is there's a spot for just about everyone who's got courage and heart and determination. Can be any size or shape and play the game and just need a ball.
Yeah,
Just need a ball. Polo, pretty expensive.
a little bit more than a ball.
Gotta get you a horse. The startup cost to be a polo player, probably a little steep compared to the rugby startup cost.
Yeah, yeah, like thousands more, 1,000 times more, maybe.
Yeah, 1,000 times more. Yeah,
Yeah.
because how much does like a good horse run on the market? Like if I was gonna go get a good polo
Where?
horse,
Like in Texas? Like a good one?
sure. Yeah, yeah, in Texas.
You're probably talking like 30, I think, probably 30,000 at least. For like a good, like you're talking about
This is
good horse.
right. That's a car. That's like a
But
pretty good car.
yeah.
A brand new Jeep or something. I mean,
And then you have to
horses
feed
are,
it.
and that's probably like another 1,000 a month or something. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what the feed prices in the US are, but I'm sure you're paying quite a bit
Are the
in
horses
feed
cheaper
and
in Tanzania?
um yeah, I mean I'd say a lot of things are cheaper. Anything you can farm is pretty much cheaper here just because labor is cheaper and there's not as much. Yeah, it's not
So
as
yeah,
professional, I would say.
I gotcha. I hear you. I mean, I like that definitely in a sense. Do you feel like the lower cost of living or lower like things don't cost as much, as you said in Tanzania?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
definitely something that is advantageous or makes life a little easier, you feel like, or it's just
yeah,
the
no, 100%.
yeah,
I mean just like an example is maybe my sister in the US right now is making double what I'm making here,
right,
but on a monthly basis because she lives in LA and I live in Tanzania, I have at the end of the month much more left over of my chunk than she has of hers because her rent alone is like 3 times, 4 times mine,
right.
and
How
so
much
on,
is
and it
rent?
goes on to.
How much
So
is
I've got
just kind of
a.
the average rent?
I mean, you can range in Arusha. You could range from paying $20 a month, $30 a month for like a single room within a house with other people, to five, $4,000 or $5,000 for a big house. Um, my
How about
house
a
right now,
yeah,
two bedroom house. I can even show you around if it's allowed for
one
the
thousand
viewing.
percent, 1,000%.
Like there's a kitchen
I love it.
and then like a living area and then there's an upstairs area and then the 2 bedrooms further down.
It's a house.
Um, it's a house,
Hell
seven hundred
yeah!
dollars a month.
What? Holy shit! That I
And
might
three
I
three
might
acres of
come
land.
over there. The 3 acres included with the 700.
Yes, included. Sorry, my dogs are also banging at my door, but I'm
Brother,
quite
zero
a second.
problem. Yeah, zero problems. Wow. That is just eye-opening.
Yeah, so
And no wonder you love Tanzania so much. That's amazing. So in Tanzania, hey buddy, what's the pupper's name?
this one's Chase.
Hey Tiz. I'll grab
Chase,
my
Chase.
oh Chase. Chase. Hey Chase. Good to see you,
Yeah.
buddy. I'll grab my
Um,
guy in a little bit.
all good.
But
Yeah, $700.
700.
Yeah,
That's phenomenal. I'd say like a semi-respectable apartment here in the Dallas Fort Worth area, which would be like 1 bedroom, a living area, bathroom, your standard operation and apartment is like 1,200,
Hmm.
and that is not 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 that nice. But
Yeah.
yours, brother, I like that setup a lot. Got enough room for maybe a Texan to come pay a visit sometime.
Oh, 100%. You're welcome anytime.
How much is it? Or long is that flight? Or how long
Oh,
does it
from
take you if you're
Texas,
getting to America? How long has it taken you previously?
you can fly from here to Amsterdam. Um, direct flight from here to Amsterdam is like 8 hours ish.
Okay,
7 to 9, depending on which plane you're on. I think, yeah, obviously those Dreamliners and stuff like that move a bit quicker. And then from Amsterdam to New York, I think is 11 hours. So 20-ish hours of flying time.
not too bad.
There's another option is you can fly from Tanzania to Kenya, just north of us, which is like an hour and a half, and then one 16-hour straight haul over to New York, which is
I'd probably do
long,
that.
but yeah, that one's nice.
Just give me all the NyQuil and Unisom and all
Yeah,
this. Probably take a little bit more than the recommended dose. Nothing crazy, but just sleep it off. Boom, wake up in Kenya or Tanzania.
yeah, yeah,
Love it, brother. So Tanzania is obviously an awesome place, and uh, to fast forward on the timeline of life, was University of Richmond a good experience?
yeah. No, I liked it. It's a
Us,
small university. There's like 3,000 students.
the Spiders, right?
Um, yeah, the Spiders,
Go Spiders.
Richmond Spiders, go Spiders. Um, Small university, so it's kind of like had a bit of a community feel, which was nice. I like that. Um, you knew each other. People you were walking around campus. You knew most of the people you were running into, or at least half of the people. You could
Kind of like
maybe
Culver.
name them, or yeah, kind of like over. Yeah.
I love
Um,
that.
and the classes were all there was no like lectures, all small classrooms, maybe maximum 25 students. So also there, it's a bit of a personal feel, which I like. I would have struggled a lot more, I think, if I had to just go listen to someone talk and not be involved in it. Uh,
Same. I
Lectures
suck
are
at
not
those.
for me.
I'm
Yeah,
asleep. Boom. Immediately.
100%. Especially if they
Every
don't
time.
care. They've got 500 students. They don't give a shit if the guy in the front or the guy in the back is out.
They don't
So
know you. You're a
yeah,
number at that point.
exactly. So I really like that. That was nice about Richmond.
Yeah. No rugby, right? At Richmond?
They had a club team. The No offense, they weren't great. Not people I wanted to play with necessarily.
I
Wasn't
understand
my
that.
wasn't wasn't my crowd.
I fully get that. I fully get that. Our you know, our Culver program, we had a damn good team, honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of big
It's fun.
a lot of big boys, a lot of hard workers, a lot of talented foreign people like you, Pepe, and we have the Hogan brothers.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
beasts,
they,
crazy,
I mean, those
athletic.
uh, crazy athletes. Shout out to
Shout out to the Hogans. Yeah,
both the Hogans. Great guys.
Ed and Eddie.
Sebastian Litchfield,
Yeah, Litchfield, my roommate.
man, I miss him. I hope he's doing good.
Yeah, I've actually seen him a few times over the years. Run into him, and we were both in Florida at the same time. So I'm in Florida, maybe oh, 4 or 5 years ago.
Love that. What's out in Florida?
Yeah, for me,
Yeah, for
um,
or just
my dad,
vacation.
my dad was visiting some clients, and I just went with him.
Love that. A lot of beaches.
Yeah,
Where'd you go in
Florida's nice.
Florida, brother?
Oh, I'm trying to think where that one was that time. I've moved around a bit. I've done some places. Been to Miami, Naples, um, Vero Beach. There's that island, Sanibel Island. I think I went one year. Um,
A lot of the Florida Keys is they got a lot of keys. I don't know them all, but
um, I,
Florida, great place for sure.
yeah, yeah, it's fun.
Definitely, definitely a kind of unique part of the United States that has a culture of its own and similar to Texas.
Yeah.
And let's say California is kind of like that. New York, um, those are probably the main places. Uh, All right, Benji. So fast forward. Love that University of Richmond was a good time, good community.
Good time.
Actually got to learn, which
Yeah.
a lot of these American students or students in general that go to these massive universities. I think we're both in the camp of thinking that not the best way to learn when it's a little too crowded. But luckily, you didn't have that experience at Baylor. I didn't really have that experience. We did have smaller classrooms. And now, brother, I know there's probably a big chapter of life from after University of Richmond till now. But did we go straight into becoming the modern day Tarzan and now
Um,
being a safari guide? Or what was the progression like? Well, just walk me through it, brother.
so right now I'm not a safari guide anymore. Well, I am qualified to be one, but that's
Leveled
not what
up.
I'm doing. Yeah, kind a little bit, sort of. So progression, long progression.
I'm
I
here
came
for it,
back and
brother.
I came back and I started working for my dad at his safari company. Um, and I did that from when right after first right after I graduated, I went and traveled a bit. I went to Thailand for a while for like a month. And I came back just to have fun in Thailand, party,
I've heard
enjoy.
good things about Thailand. Some crazy
Thailand's a
things,
fun place.
but also a lot of good
Thailand's a
things.
fun place. Um,
Definitely want to go. I heard they have
so
good milkshakes that they can make on the beach to like
yeah,
and make you feel really good.
yeah, they do have those nice feeling milkshakes for sure.
Love a good milkshake.
I also love a good milkshake.
Love to hear it, brother.
So so I yeah, came back to Tanzania. I started working for my dad. Worked for him for 2 years or so, two and a half years, and then a little bit down in Tanzania. There was a time where they um they built a task force. Our old president, I don't know if you heard about him. Not
I
that we
do,
can necessarily
I would
say
love to
anything
know.
negative. Not necessarily trying to say anything negative about anything, but he was very strict on the rules. Um, as
Like a
he was saying, he
dictator?
was fighting. Uh, I wouldn't say that far, but they definitely that word might have been thrown around here and there.
And this show's for
Um,
entertainment purposes only, ladies and gents. So if we misquote something, we're just here for
yeah,
your entertainment purposes.
yeah.
So he
So
was strict.
yeah, and then because of that, a lot of other people took advantage of that, and basically these task forces were sent out in Tanzania, and their jobs was to find companies that had been evading tax, um,
Mm,
and then not charge them with evading tax, then charge them with economic sabotage and money laundering. So there was
Jesus.
basically a period of time in Tanzania, and those charges, because those charges are unbailable. So there was a period of time in Tanzania where kind of all business shut down. I mean, just being realistic, Tanzania is still a developing country.
Right.
Corruption happens on a daily basis here. It still
Yeah.
happens still today, and it
Right.
has happened for a long time, and it happens everywhere in the world, but it happens here. And basically, they were trying to fight that or change that, but in
It's not easy.
Tanzania's, yeah, and it's not. It's really not easy when you then look back 5 or 10 years at a company.
Right.
So you're looking back, they're back taxing. They were back taxing people for
Yikes.
years of informal or incorrect taxes or whatever. And yeah,
And they're
my dad
coming
got
with
hit.
it's like
Yeah, yeah, force.
they come
It's
to
like
you, they're like, you're paying.
you're going,
We're gonna take you
you're
to
going
jail.
to your jail or you're paying. And my dad,
Right.
like any other businessman in Tanzania, definitely had done maybe what he had done to get things. And it's not like he was tax evading or that kind of thing, but he might have pushed some things along here and there, given a little present or whatever. But
1000%. As a smart
they hit
businessman
him.
should.
They hit him pretty bad. And he was locked up for like a year and a month or two in Tanzania for economic sabotage. Um,
Wow.
was
I
wild.
bet that's a roller coaster of emotions for you, probably. And
Yeah,
you're
so I was the only my brother and sister both live in LA. I lived here in Tanzania working with my dad, and my parents are divorced. So
you
it was me. Um,
you had
when
to
my
be the
dad
man
went
of the
away,
family, of the house,
well,
the
yeah,
business.
of his business. So I ran his business while it was still operating because he had his safari bookings on for the next year and a half after he went away.
Yeah.
So I ran his business for a year and a half while he was locked up, and yeah, that was pretty hectic time in my life. A lot of high end clients, a lot of
You gotta
people I
learn
never.
real quick.
Yeah, and I had no choice, and I was the only because my dad's company, the way it worked is it was private guided. He would go meet his clients wherever they lived in the world, meet them at their homes, get to know them before they ever came on safari. Very high end luxury safaris. So he's already met these people at their house. So the only person who really makes sense to take
Right.
over those safaris is me as his son, because at least there's a connection there.
Yeah, I can
Um,
see that. And
so yeah, that's what I
you're
did.
just a young lad at that time, and you're probably going
24 years old.
to these. So you then had to go visit these clients, I'm assuming.
So no, I wasn't because I didn't try. I wasn't really working on booking new clients. It was like my dad books a year in advance usually all of his clients.
Okay,
So it
okay.
was the remaining clients was another year and a bit of clients that I took on safari for his company.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy times.
So this was over the course of like a year, 2 year period, right?
Yeah, my dad was away for a year and 2 months, I think.
What was it like that day your dad came back? You walk me through it.
Um,
That'd be pretty awesome.
the day he came back, so I wasn't even in the country. I went down to South Africa and I was doing a an extra guiding course, learning some more about animals and birds and all that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he got out while I was there, and I didn't even have phone signal for most of the day. So yeah, finally he called me, and it was yeah. I mean, that was pretty crazy because he hadn't had a phone in jail here. There's no phone, so I was away in South Africa for 2 months, and I hadn't spoken to him, and he did just call me, and that was yeah, pretty wild to hear his voice on the phone after not hearing him for more than a year.
Honestly amazing. I don't know. I don't know many. I don't know anyone who's ever had that happen internationally, but I know, anytime a parent is absent and hey, son, now's your time.
Yeah,
I gotta do what I gotta do, and hats
yeah.
off to you, brother. That's
Thank
that's uh
thank you.
that's an accomplishment in its own right. Um,
Mhm.
So you learned the safari business and the high end safari business pretty quickly.
Yeah,
I'm guessing. Had no choice.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I had grown up. My dad had done that my whole life, so grown up around it. Did that my summer holidays was going on trips with my dad and seeing what he does and how he interacts with clients and how it works and then obviously even after I graduated from university I did like another year and a half 2 years with him there
Hmm.
kind of like apprenticing him, so I wasn't like I came in cold with nothing knowing nothing, but definitely was a lot more than I intended to be doing at that age because I was what
I
24, yeah,
bet. I bet.
and taking multimillionaires, rich people from the US on safari in Tanzania with a quarter being me being maybe a quarter or not a quarter, but like a third of their age. So 70 year
Yeah.
old men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get to have to learn very fast, but I'm sure you got to soak in a lot of wisdom from these people who are so successful that they have the freedom and ability to do something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Benji, I'm curious. So say for example, I'm a Texan millionaire who's always just wanted, which I'm not, but hopefully one day. But hypothetically, say I'm some Texan millionaire who would love to go to Tanzania, and I research and I find y'all's company back. I know this, it maybe not necessarily what your role is right now, but I know you mentioned how your dad would come meet and stay and get to know them. Like what would that process kind of look like? So you'd come visit me and tell me about.
Yeah. So my dad's thing was he was all word of mouth. So he didn't advertise online really. I mean, he had a website, but it was just basically you open the website, there was a slideshow of pictures, and then it said like contact information below. There was nothing to click. There was nothing. Yeah,
No
it was
email,
just
newsletter, no
no. You
form.
just have there's email below and a phone number, so he could email my dad or call. So yeah, that was basically it. Word of mouth. So his clients would then go back after their safari and tell their friends about my dad, and so hopefully get him more clients. And it worked. I mean, it definitely worked. He was very successful. Was able to send us to schools across the world. We were well taken care of. Had great childhood. It definitely worked. But yeah, so it was. Let's say then if you were coming on safari, you would have probably been recommended by one of your friends who had come on safari with us before, and they'd
Yeah,
say, "Hey, my dad George is coming to town. Um, would you like to meet him? I know you're interested in a safari." And maybe my dad would meet you just at like a dinner and just casually talk about it first, and then say, if you want to talk about it more, if you'd like any more information, I can come and give you a full presentation at your house. And then he'd go and maybe some places he'd take a projector or slides or whatever. So show some photos of Tanzania, the kind of what the camp looks like, give them an idea of what they would be doing. And then obviously, everything is tailor made. So you
yeah,
can you can come and do a full tented safari where more rustic and more out in the bush experience, or you can do the fanciest of the fancy where you're staying at a hotel that would be nice anywhere in the world, paying
right.
ridiculous amounts of money. So there's a full range of all the different options you want to do. And
Yeah,
then from there, you book probably if you from when you met my dad, book for like a year in advance from there. And then next year
there's a
at
wait
whatever time
list.
that was, there was. My dad's no longer really operating at the moment in Tanzania.
Right.
Um, but but yeah, there was definitely quite a wait list.
So Benji, next question. When did you know that you wanted to be a part of that business and that a part of that life?
Um, I'd say pretty young. I pretty restless guy. I don't know, maybe undiagnosed ADD, whatever it is. I can't. I'm struggling now. Still, I sit at a desk a lot, but I'm like constantly getting up, doing things, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't like it at all. I knew a long time ago that I needed to do something that was going to involve something more stimulating than my computer. Even now, I can't. I mean, like, yeah, I like to watch Netflix and whatever, Instagram sometimes, but
An
I couldn't
essay
sit on
or
X.
Excel? Hell no. Get it out of here.
I can do it.
Would much
I
rather
can
see
do a
a
quick.
lion.
I can do a quick Excel, but I'm not. I don't want to spend my 6 days working on one Excel sheet or something like that.
Right. It's better to get out there and be living.
Yeah.
So, speaking of the safari experiences, and what do you love most about safaris?
Um, I don't know. I wouldn't. I don't know about favorite. Love the most.
Or maybe here's another question I could kind of segue into that. What are some
Okay.
of the animals that you see when you're on these safaris? I know people can go to your Instagram, which
Yeah.
is absolutely phenomenal. And
It's been
what's the
lacking recently.
every time I go to it, I get fired up. It makes me want to be in Tanzania. Brother, what's the Instagram handle again to a T?
Is it's Benji Mav, BenjiMav.
Follow it if you hear this. Follow immediately. I guarantee you won't be let down because there's some amazing specimens out there. But just to let the fine folks out there, what are some things people could expect to see if they were with you?
Yeah. The standard, as you would say, African animals: the lion, leopard, cheetah. Um, there's many different types of antelopes. You can go kudu, elephant, obviously, hippos, gazelles, Grant's gazelle, Thompson gazelle. Um, yeah, wildebeest,
Big, big animals.
giraffe, giraffes, zebra. Yeah, I mean, pretty much all those standard African animals you can think of.
How about the old rhino? Mini
Yeah, you can
rhinos
see the rhino. Yeah, you can see rhino in Tanzania
and hippo too, right?
and hippo too. Yeah,
Hippos, word on the street, they can be mean some bitch if you get on the
yeah,
wrong side of
yeah,
them.
yeah. Hippos are not fun. It's the most deadly land animal in Tanzania
Yeah,
after the mosquito, which kills more people just because of malaria. But
right.
um, yeah, hippos pretty dangerous, especially when they're outside of the water. So the main thing that what happens is um, that what causes hippos to kill people all the time is that people are going down early in the mornings to collect water to bring home, maybe down at the river or whatever. In like the rural areas, they walk down to the river, and the hippo went out. Hippos graze on land, so they actually don't eat usually in the water. They're getting out at nighttime. They're going on land. They're grazing on grass. Um, but then the hippos get caught on the land, and they want to get back in the water because that's where they feel comfortable. And
Hmm.
there's a person in the way. There's a person in the way, and they use their teeth to move that person usually.
Ooh, definitely.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of hippo YouTube videos and kind of the History Channel style documentaries on them. Fascinating creature, but
yeah.
do not want to get chomped by one of those. Look,
Nah.
no. I mean, I've
Like
seen
teeth
them
like what?
massive. I've seen them chomp a watermelon, and it's just like and it's gone.
Easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not fun.
So Benji, have you ever had a little scary hippo run in?
Yeah. Not scary. Well, I mean it was because it happened. I worked at a lodge for a while.
Hmm.
Unfortunately it was right at the beginning of COVID, so it didn't last long. I was managing a lodge in southern Tanzania, in what used to be called the Selous Game Reserve, which
Okay.
again at the time, as of 4 years ago or so, it was the biggest game reserve in the world. Um,
That's pretty
Now
sweet.
they've split it into two. So it's not, I don't think, anymore, but it's still now. I mean, I think it was 54,000 square kilometers. Huge, like
Massive.
Belgium, like the size of Belgium or something. And So I was working down there, and it was right on the Rufiji River, and that river is pumping with crocodiles and now crocodiles and hippos. So a lot of experiences, and there was one hippo that they had named Bruce the hippo in the camp, and he had decided that his home was the camp. So my office
He
stairs,
just
we walk
decided.
downstairs, and he would be chilling right there at the bottom of the stairs. And like sometimes you have to wait a little bit so he could move out the way so you could walk down the stairs. He was just always around. Never did anything to anyone. Bruce was fine, but definitely still a sketchy thing because they're
Very sketchy.
a couple tons of animal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
Well, shout out Bruce to being a nice big boy.
Yeah, big friendly hippo.
Big friendly hippo. The world needs more of those because obviously they are a deadly creature. Speaking of other fascinating creatures, we've seen, or I've seen on your Instagram, lion, cheetah, leopard. Out of those three, brother, which one is the most incredible species?
Leopard.
Leopard.
Well, I don't know. I guess they all have their thing, you know.
They
Leopard
definitely
and I mean, but the crazy thing about leopard is it's like 70, 80 kilos. I don't know what that's like 150 to 170 pounds.
size of a man,
Yeah, I
relatively
mean,
big man.
basically, yeah, I'm 75 kilos, so I'm like 165 or 160, something like that. So my weight basically is a leopard, but that same weight could me up a tree that's straight vertical with no branches, just like claws into the tree and carry me up that tree at my current weight, being the
Easily.
same weight as me, which isn't crazy. And in like a few seconds, run up a tree with me. It's wild.
That's insane.
Yeah,
So
that's insane.
leopard's strong ass animal.
Yeah. And then
And
cheetah, of course, is like much thinner, narrower, but so fast as well, like breaking 60 miles an hour,
fast.
which is insane. Yeah, I mean, 60 miles an hour, an animal running like that.
Yeah, that just makes me think of like my car going down the highway and just a cheetah just right with me the whole time. And it'd be
Yeah.
completely like technically feasible.
Yeah.
Does the leopard run pretty fast? I know it kind of got the
Yeah.
same colors as a cheetah, but does it have the same speed?
Yeah. Not the same speed. No, it's not it's got a very fast burst though. Like it's maybe like 20, 30 meters, but it's doing like maybe 50 miles an hour in that burst, but
Still
not a
fast.
long distance. Still very fast. Yeah, very fast.
And
Like we're not.
what's a lion clocking at if they're
It's
going
around the
fast?
same as the leopard. A little bit slower than the leopard. They're just much heavier. Lions maybe even a female lion is double the weight of a male leopard.
Yeah.
So, and then a
Yeah.
male lion, you're looking at like 4 times the weight of a leopard.
And you've come across many lions. I know there's a lot of pictures, videos that you have of the lions, which again, go look at it, ladies and gents. You got to. So with these large cats, brother, I'll admit I'm very fascinated by them, and the fact that you get to see them in the wild is just awesome in its own right. Any stories with any of these large cats?
Yeah, there's definitely one that stands out. One story.
Is this a
Um,
Latham Island? Or is that
no, no,
okay, we'll
no.
get to
Latham Island's Latham Island's a different story.
we'll get there.
Yeah. So I'll give you. This is in that period where my dad is not no longer around, and I was doing his trips for him.
Right.
He had booked a couple. It was a group trip, so it was actually a mixed group, which is not normal for us. We don't do that at all. But he did like one a year where people could, if they're not sure if they want to book, but they want to see what it's like, they
Right.
could come and join that group trip and kind of get a feel for what it was. And it was good for us as like a marketing tool, get it spread out to a lot more people in one trip. So
Love it.
that's what my dad was doing. And there was this group, and it was uh husband and wife, aged 84 and 81, I think, or
Old.
something like that. Or 70s or 80s, somewhere in that range.
Older folk
Uh,
for sure.
older for sure. And then their daughter. Okay, so they must have been 70s because their daughter was like 40.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so I think they were 70s. Their daughter was like 40s, and then there was another woman who was in her mid 50s. So the whole group a lot older than I am.
Definitely.
And yeah, at age 20, 24. And we're staying at one of the lodges that my dad was a partner in, and we're tented lodge, and they say they want to do a bit of a walking safari in the morning. So we stay overnight at this lodge. In the morning, with the camp manager who does the guided walks there,
Yeah.
myself and um, four of them, and then one other local Maasai, one of the tribesmen from that area, also there with us.
Gotta have the tribesmen there, probably.
Yeah, just they know the land better than anyone else. So he worked for us at the lodge, and yeah,
For
so
sure.
we're walking. And as we're leaving, I'm not armed, but the guy who's leading, whenever you're leading a walk, you're armed. So he's armed, 4.58
What
Winchester
kind of
Magnum,
okay. Love it.
4.58. Yeah, big caliber round.
Oh yeah.
Um, so he's walking, but he comes up to me and he's like, I don't know if I'll make this walk. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, I was up all night on the toilet. Like, my stomach is really not doing well. So I said, that's fine. Do you want me to just go and do the walk? And he's like, no, I'll do it. But if I have to leave, I'll just leave.
And he's gonna be
And so we're
walking
walking
them through
the bush.
this.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
yeah. You go when you're doing walking safaris, you choose like the less brushy areas, so where you have a bit of a line of sight around you. So just nothing. You're not surprising anything. Nothing is surprising you.
Right.
Yeah. So just want to keep your distance from things, especially on foot, obviously.
And the party
So
is
yeah,
with y'all. Are they behind y'all, the people who you're touring?
so I back up. I was
Hmm.
at the back of the group, but unarmed at the time, and he's at the front, and then the group is in between us. So I don't let
Okay.
anyone pass me behind, and he doesn't let anyone pass him in front. That's kind of how it works. So we're walking, and we did, of course, because they're older in their 70s. Yeah, we're walking, doing short walk, mile and a half, maybe pushing it 2 miles at most.
It's a
They're
nice
fit; they can
stroll.
walk. Just a stroll. We saw some elephants. Everything's going well. Some zebra, wildebeest, waterbuck, all the nice
Lovely.
things. Um, Everything's going well, and the walk was from the lodge just to a waterhole a couple miles away, and then the car was going to come collect us there at that waterhole. And yeah, so we're getting there, and now it's like 500 yards away. The waterhole, we can see it in the distance. We're like, yeah, everything's good. We start saying like calling the car to come collect us. And then the guide walks up to me, the manager, camp manager. He walks up to me like, Benji, I'm not gonna make it to the waterhole. I need to go. So I said, that's fine. But we're with the client, so I'm not gonna sit here and listen to you take a shit basically behind this bush. So I'm
Right.
just gonna continue the walk with the clients. I'm finished. We'll meet you at the waterhole.
Right.
And so we continue walking. I take the gun. I go up front. Now it's just me and them, and then the local guide.
Yep.
Um, and we walk, and then there's like in this really thick bush, there's like an archway between these two bushes that has basically just been cut out before by cars driving in through that thing anyway. So it's like a proper arch. Cars have hit it many times. All the leaves have fallen, so it's perfect. And we're walking, and that's like the last thing. You walk through that little archway in the bushes, and then you're kind of at the waterhole. So I'm walking through this bush, and I take like a couple steps into it, and I hear just like a rumbling sound, and I'm thinking, like elephant or something. But then I stop and I like tell the clients like stop, and just goes quiet. Everything's fine. And then like clients are a bit quiet, and they're asking like what's up, like what's wrong. And I said nothing. I just thought I heard something. And then I said, okay, I take another like two steps, and this time like I hear a full growl at that point. And the most unnerving thing about this situation, so I've got the gun in my hand, and I look down, and the bush is so thick, I can't see what's in there.
Right.
Still don't know necessarily exactly what's in there, but at that point I knew it was a cat.
Yeah.
So lion most likely, not leopard. Leopard really would
You
have
heard the or whatever you heard a cat
like a
noise.
proper like no a growl. It was like
A
a
growl.
proper like deep proper growl, like nothing, no doubt about it.
Like at the beginning of
And
those movies.
no, they don't do it like that. It's more like even like when a dog growls at you.
Right.
But imagine that and put it through a huge
I can just feel it.
speaker, and you
Give me
can feel it in your
chills.
chest. Like yeah, like that kind of growl. Just letting me know that we're coming too close. So then I stopped the clients and I said to them like, yeah, okay, so now we need to just keep looking forward and walk backwards slowly. Up until this point, we're not moving. We're still they're just in shock, I guess. And I'm just like, no, like really need to move. And then they start to walk back. 70 years old, so we're moving really slowly. And then we're walking back, and then out of the bushes, the guy who went to take a shit comes out, and he's like, "No, you guys are going the wrong way." And we're like, "Shut the fuck!" Yeah, just like be quiet,
Not
basically.
now.
We're yeah, essentially that, and we start walking back. We get to the tree behind, and then after like a minute or two, the car that was coming to pick us up gets there. So we jump in the car and we drive around the bush, and then in the like just walking away over the other bank of the waterhole is just this big male lion. But I think maybe 6 to 8 feet away from me, because I was not hearing the sound from. I was hearing it from down next to me. So
Right.
it was looking, and it could definitely see me, and I couldn't see it at all, which was the scariest thing about the whole thing. Until after getting in the car, I'd never seen the lion, which was scary.
That's scary. Fascinating that such a big, powerful beast can disguise itself so well
Yeah,
during that
yeah,
time.
just some thick bush. Yeah.
Some thick bush.
Mhm.
All right. No one was eaten, no, which is good.
No one was eaten. No injuries, nothing. Everything was good. It was just definitely like
Could have
being
gotten
that
eaten
close
moment.
to that. Yeah, could have gotten eaten. Lucky day.
Brother, keep those lucky days coming. I know you're out in the wild,
Yeah,
and yeah, that just gives me chills thinking about that. Okay, brother. So now I do have to ask. Tell me the story about the trip to Latham Island.
Latham. Yeah, you should when you get a chance, just look up Latham Island on Google. It's
I will. I'll do it right now. Would that be a good preliminary understanding to
yeah,
the
it's
story?
basically a tiny, tiny sand island, just sand and rock in the middle of the ocean, like 45 miles offshore. Nothing around it, nothing else other than this island.
I'll
Um,
I'll go ahead and just kind of read to give a little preface
yeah,
to the audience.
yeah, go for it.
Ladies and gents, we're about to get the story from Ben on his trip to Latham Island, and this is what Latham Island is, according to the fine folks at Wikipedia. Latham Island, known as Bangu Kizimkazi,
Kisimkazi. Yeah.
Bangu Mbakra, is a small, relatively isolated island in the Zanzibar archipelago.
Archipelago.
Yep. Thank you, brother. We've got some maybe African terminology here that maybe I'll butcher. You know, it's with all respect. I'm trying my best. Tanzania, which is historically under the government of Zanzibar since 1898. The island has several local names in addition to Fungu Kizmikazi, the most notable, which is Bunga la Mabarak, after the Arab who had the right to collect the wreckage there in the reign of Syed Bargadash, who was the Sultan of Zanzibar. The island was featured on an early 16th century Portuguese map, but it derives its present name from the East India man Latham, who rediscovered this island in 1758. Small island. Small from what it looks like.
Pardon?
Surrounded by coral reef.
Yeah, tiny, tiny island.
Tiny island off the
But
coast of Tanzania.
yeah, it's tiny. I mean, like you walk across it and from one side to the other in maybe 3 minutes, and then for the long way, maybe 6 minutes or something. Like tiny.
0.3 kilometers long, 0.1 kilometers wide.
Yeah, so like 1,000 feet by whatever, 500 feet.
Like a football field.
Yeah,
Maybe a
a
little
little bit
bigger.
bigger. Yeah, few football fields.
A few football fields. So what happened to Benji during his trip to Latham Island?
So a lot of my friends and I are big into the fishing, but not in the like we're a bit more small scale, I would say. You know, we don't have a 70-foot whatever
Right.
Bertram yacht fishing boat that we have, where we're fishing on small skiffs and kind of like the
boys
corporate
going
fishing.
the boys going
The
fishing.
boys going fishing.
Hell yeah. I love that.
So like 15 of us got together, 15 friends, and we decided we're going to Latham. But we decided we're gonna go camp on Latham Island for 4 nights. And
4 nights.
I've 3 4 nights. This was just last year. 3 nights, 4 days, I think, maybe. Yeah. So,
Okay.
but that means we had everything. We needed to carry everything we needed for 15 with crew members and get a few guys for the boats and mechanics and stuff. Ended up being 19 people on the island. So we need a pack for 19 people. So
Gotcha.
five boats, split all the
stuff.
equipment, tents, everything, kitchen, everything,
All the essentials.
Split that between the canopies because it's middle of an island, not single tree on it, so you need shade or else you die. It's the worst. I mean, honestly, I would not take anyone there that I really like that didn't really want to go there. It was torture.
Right.
But it is the most, I think in my eyes, the most brutal place I've ever been. So we arrived, well, first we go to Zanzibar, 15 guys, a lot of us rugby players, and when you get all the like a bunch of rugby players together drinking
hell of a
always
time with the
gets a bit.
boys.
It gets rowdy. So we ended up the night before going out until 5, whatever it
Sure.
was,
Late night with
leaving
the
at
lads.
5:30 to go to Latham Island.
Oh,
So arrive back,
quick
don't sleep,
turnaround.
get our shit, get on a boat, and 3 boats that are like private, okay, decent boats, and then there's 2 boats that are rented, and I'm on one of those 2 rented boats, and those 2 rented boats are kind of not great. No
Man.
shade,
Oh,
no. So we just ate sunlight for hungover at 6 a.m. in the morning until
oh,
one, like 6-7 hours of sun.
sleep
Uh,
deprived, just liquor sweating through the skull.
yeah, all the good stuff, just like brutal start to the trip. That's first day over, and we arrive on this
Battle.
island. Beautiful. The water is the most blue. I've never seen any water like that anywhere in the world in my life. Crazy clear water, beautiful seas, and the island looks so nice. Everything looks so nice. We're so chuffed to be there. And then as we get a bit closer, we realize these waves that are next to this island are fucking insane. Like
Massive.
waves. Yeah, proper waves and they're not like a smooth rolling wave. It's like up and then crash down. High up and crash down. Heavy waves.
Damn.
And we now have to offload 5 boats onto shore. And we've all hung over, just had sitting in the sun for 4 or 5 hours, maybe longer, and now have to offload tents and water and yeah, like swimming with a 20-gallon drum of water like behind you, trying to get it to shore, and then get it, and then you get
That's
to
heavy.
shore, and then you get to shore and nice waves. Either the waves are fucking awful, and inside the waves are just like boulders of coral. So
I
you
see it's
you walk on the
surrounded
shore.
all by a coral reef, is what it says. Yeah.
So then it just breaks off chunks of coral, and you're trying to pull stuff onto the beach at the same time. The waves are throwing chunks of coral at your ankles, or
Yeah.
face, or arm, or whatever. If you fall over, you get rocked. I mean, it was just so bad. It was awful, and we
Like
got
a war.
everyone off. It was like the worst. We offloaded. We got all the shit up. The canopy was up, and we put everything underneath, and everyone just like sat there, broken humans, broken, tough people. People who've like,
Rugby warriors.
yeah,
They've been
rugby
through the
warriors
shit.
through this shit. Safari guys who have been through this shit in the bush as well. Rough days. Every single person was broken. I bought. We. I went and bought like 7 cases of beer the day before. We're like getting pumped. We're like, yeah, we're gonna drink. We didn't have. I don't think anyone had a single beer on the first day. Not even one. Like, didn't open a beer. No one. It was rough. It was. And then
And these
we.
waves, I'm just trying to put a picture to mind. Ladies and gents, if you look at this island, it's out in the middle of the sea. So if you've been deep sea fishing, those waves are massive. So it's kind of like these waves are just uninterrupted, but hitting this island.
Yeah, it's like big deep sea fishing waves, proper swell with big breakers.
For the first day, you survive, thank God. Hungover,
Yeah,
banged up, battling, corals smacking you in the face, but y'all stayed alive.
stayed alive.
No beers
Went
were
fishing that
drinking on
after.
the first day.
No, did some fishing in that afternoon, late afternoon. Caught a bit of fish here and there. Morale's got increased a bit,
Love that.
and we're sleeping in tents, obviously on the beach. So we
Mhm.
set up our tents. Everyone's good. Everyone's got their tent, and we, for some reason, went on full moon on spring tide, highest tide of the year, lowest tide of the year, like the craziest tides. So day one, we don't really know what to expect once the tide comes up, but we set up our tents like we thought we should. And the
Right.
nighttime tide is worse because the moon is what affects the tide. The nighttime tide is worse than the daytime tide. So that nighttime at 3 a.m., like 70% of us just all got rocked by a wave, like in our tents. Wake up
Shitty
3
way
a.m.,
to be
3:30
woken
a.m.
up. Shitty alarm.
Yeah, after dying all
Shitty
day,
alarm.
3:30 a.m. waves come in hard, and everyone's just like scrambling to try and get their shit out of the water, salt water everywhere, and everyone, I mean, like just fucked, and everyone's
Yeah.
awake now, trying to cluster closer together into the middle of this island and trying to find where we could possibly sleep.
Were
Oh,
y'all
by
the
the way,
only
the island is
people? Is there any other? Was there
on
any
one of the
other?
nights there was other people camping there, another like tourist group that came to go fishing just because they came to go fishing on Latham Island. But other than that, no one else.
I'll put an image
It's
up
also
of the island during this part of the story because I'm looking at it and I can envision all of this right now.
it's also like a breeding ground for a bunch of water birds, like lesser masked boobies is one of the species, and then a bunch of
Love
different
boobies.
terns. I'll do.
Yeah,
So yeah, there's these birds.
tons
There's
of
thousands
birds.
and thousands of birds just breeding on the island, and it smells like shit, and you get rocked by waves, and it's just an all around
Oh,
shit place.
I'm seeing these birds now. Holy shit, that's a lot of
Yeah,
birds.
a lot of birds. Like
Whoa.
most birds you'd have probably ever seen in your life in one place. Um, yeah, so it was just a wild experience, and that was day one. And then day two, we did fishing. We're a bit settled and whatever. It's good. Everything's good. Day two, still no one's really getting on the drinks. Maybe a couple beers here and there. Um, and then day two, nighttime, waves got even worse. Even after everyone moved, still got rocked. Everyone
Oh,
awake again at 4 everyone again awake at 4 a.m.
soaking
Yeah,
wet.
soaking wet. My friend at this point had a wave came so hard, like ocean, like trash from the ocean into his tent because he left the door open because there's nothing to worry about out there. And he's got like cans of old motor oil cans inside of his tent. It's just like, fuck.
Oh, hate
Day
that.
three, yeah. Day three, I think, was the only day we packed up everything and moved it to the one area we found that could huddle around and wasn't getting rocked by waves. Um,
Damn.
but yeah, so that was good. And then day four was the trip back, and I had the craziest experience of my life fishing on the way back. We found this like thing they call fads, fish aggregation devices. I think they're illegal some places, but we found one just floating in the middle of the ocean, and it's basically these things, the boxes that people design to make fish attracted to them
Like a
in the middle of
massive
nowhere, like just a
mousetrap,
big
but for
box.
fish.
Yeah, it doesn't trap. It doesn't trap. They just come near it. They come and chill underneath the shade of it.
Oh, okay.
Um, so yeah, we found this thing
Is it
and
illegal because these fish
collects the
unknowingly
are
to
attracted to
them,
it,
they just come to it and they stay there.
and then it makes it easier for people to just fish them, however, whatever. But
Boom, all
anyway,
day. What about?
all day, and I'd never even seen one in real life. I've heard of them. I've seen them on
What's the
fishing
name of
shows
them
or whatever.
again?
A fish aggregation device, FAD, FAD. I think it's
Fish aggregation device.
yeah,
Okay, so you'll come across this, and
in the middle of the ocean, and my friend, I'm like, there's definitely going to be something underneath this thing, and lo and behold, we take one cast into this water with our rod, first reeling it in straight onto a fish, and that was a dorado or mahi mahi, I think you call them there.
yeah,
Straight first, and then I just continued to cast in there, and pretty much every time anything landed in the water, something would grab it. It was the most wild thing. I didn't believe that they were that good, but they're actually that good. I guess these things.
I'm looking at them
Um,
now. Yeah, they come running like flies to shit.
so we were just catching so many fish, and then my friend caught maybe like a 4 or 5 foot shark, and we were just we were just kind of then fucked for a while. we're in this
Yeah.
tiny ass boat. I mean, like a 18-foot boat with this
And are y'all
5 foot shark.
keeping these fish? I mean, that's good
So
protein.
at that point, I mean, so on the other days, I mean, we caught like over 1,000 pounds of fish in the few days we were there. Maybe
Love
maybe
that.
1,500. We sold a bunch to try to pay for our fuel and stuff like that. It was kind of an pricey trip. We rented some boats and stuff as well. So we were paying back our expenses a little bit with the money we sold fish for, and then we
That's
tipped
awesome.
our the crew because we bought like a chef, like cook from one of the safari companies to come and cook for us while we were there. We didn't want to cook as well as doing all the fishing and missions, so he
Right.
cooked for us. And we gave him a nice tip.
Hell
So
yeah.
it was kind of paid for that and helped us along with that. But a lot of the fish we ate a lot of fish, and then because this was the last day and we were heading back, I kept a few of those fish to bring back and freeze and keep at home, and I have been eating them slowly for the
Love
last few
that.
months. Whenever I want some fish, at least I know where it came from.
Absolutely. The freshest way to
Right
get
here.
it. I mean, right from your rod.
Yeah.
Do we eat the shark? The shark
No,
good?
the shark. We
Little
no, we
shark
tried to take.
sandwich?
It ended up snapping the line after a while, but we were trying to figure out because we didn't have any shark handling equipment. We didn't have, I don't know, like
Yeah, I don't even know.
anything
I don't
ready
know
for
where
that.
you would. I don't even know what
I don't
shark
know what the
handling equipment is, but I know it's probably out there, but expensive
maybe some
and
ropes and stuff to tie around certain places of their body and lasso, or I don't know. I don't know what they do, but we couldn't handle it, so we were trying
yeah,
to figure out how to get the hook out of its mouth without losing our hand.
yeah. I mean, if it was me, I would have just said, "All right, we'll just
Lose that line.
he'll have to use that hook to build
Catch other fish.
it'll build some character for him. Yeah, he can catch other fish. It'll just be another tooth.
Yeah. I mean, it was the wild, even the amount of sharks. Like I cast it in one time and I caught like a small little tuna, like a little yellowfin tuna, and I'm reeling it in, and it suddenly just gets much stronger, and I and the shark half of it, and it's still chewing on it, and like even as I pull the tuna out the water, the shark is still chewing with outside the water. It's headed outside the water, still chewing on this tuna. It's wild. I've never seen. I mean, I
That's
just couldn't believe it.
bonkers, brother. That's amazing. So it sounds like everyone got back alive though, which is a great
Yeah,
victory from the trip to Latham Island.
yeah. Now we made it. We're gonna make it an annual trip, I think. So
Y'all definitely should,
I'll let you,
as long
let
as
you
the
know how this one
tide
goes.
is not as high.
Yeah,
Well, Ben, brother, it's been a hell of a afternoon for me. I know it's evening for you, but
yeah.
I know we could keep talking for hours, brother, because I know we have so
Have we
much
been
to catch up on. We're getting close to the 2 hour
2 hours?
mark.
Wow.
Time flies when you're having fun, is what I say.
Yeah, I thought we were still in our first hour, to be honest.
Time flies when we're having fun. Benji, kind of a broad, open-ended question, and
Yeah.
then I'll give a good would you rather to cap us off. And the question is, brother, what makes Tanzania special? Why should someone visit it? Like a Texan like me, why would it be good for me to pay to visit one day?
Well, why would it be good for you? I think it would open your eyes on a lot of things. Um, the nature and wildlife and is like nothing else. I mean, I know that US has beautiful areas, but just the seeing so many wild animals in one place is a little bit different to anything I've ever experienced. Because I've traveled a decent amount, not crazy amount, but like seen a lot of Europe, a lot of US, a lot of, and there's beautiful places and all, but something about seeing a lot of animals, that are actually meant to be where they are. Something
1,000%.
special about that.
You don't see a
Something very
leopard every
special
day.
about that. No, no, and I don't even see a leopard every day on safari. So like, yeah, I mean, something about it. And then I would say people are really nice on a general basis. It's like a place where you're walking down the street. It doesn't matter if you've ever seen someone, you normally would say hi to, like, oh, hey, whatever, hi. Small things like that make a big difference in your day. You know, you just feel like there's more of a, even if you don't know someone, more of a community between you two. Yeah, that's a really nice thing
1,000%.
about Tanzania, I would say. Yeah. And then obviously it's nice to have a bit of a more relaxed rule system than the US. You know, you get into a lot of trouble all the time in the US doing things.
I 1,000% agree with that. Sometimes in America, we'll be not doing anything wrong, but boom, ticket, boom, jail, or boom, who knows? So
Yeah, you gotta be quiet because your party's too loud. That doesn't happen too much here.
yeah, when you got a couple acres, you can be a little bit louder.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, brother, I love that, and I definitely it's on my bucket list to pay you a visit in Tanzania, and I know you will be the
Sure.
most phenomenal guide. And I have before I get to my would you rather, is there any chance you might be going to 10-year reunion at Culver?
So I'm trying to. I want to.
So to be determined.
Unfortunate. It's to be determined. Yeah, because I just went to the US. I went to see my mom in Massachusetts, and my brother and sister came as well. I was there for a week and a half or so. So I just went to the US, but yeah, it just kind of depends on work as well. It's our busy season. Summer season is
I
pumping.
hear I hear that, and it's quite the journey for you. So fully understand if you're
especially
not there. We'll definitely
to India.
hit you with a FaceTime when I'm with some of the old rugby brothers. Shout out to all of our
Yeah,
Culver
sounds good.
rugby brothers who tuned in. I know
Yeah.
there's quite a few who are gonna enjoy listening to this one. So now, Ben, to the would you rather, and this is a would you rather that I actually quite frequently ask to almost every guest. But for you, I will say I'm very intrigued to hear what your answer will be. And the question is, would you rather speak all languages of the world or be able to speak to all animals of the world?
Animals, 100%.
I had a feeling that'd be your answer, which I love that answer too.
I've got this
Right.
magical device that seems to know how to Google translate most languages.
What if someone was potentially interested in maybe making the trek to Tanzania and connecting with your company and people you work alongside with to see more of what Tanzania is all about? What would be a good way to go about that?
I mean, you can still, even my Instagram, contact me on my Instagram.
Love it.
I'll check it. Yeah, I can still organize. I have still organized. I'm still, even right now, organizing for a trip for Enrique Sada. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
But yeah, he's planning a trip. I'm organizing with a friend of mine. Another couple guys from Richmond, and yeah, so it's
It goes down in the
definitely still a
DM.
possibility. Down in the DM.
Just send a good old Instagram DM. All right,
Yeah.
Benji. Well, brother, again, thank you so much for your time. Right now, it is 2:38 p.m. here in the Lone Star State, and it is 11:38 p.m. out in good old Tanzania.
Yep.
So close to the good old midnight hour, and we've had a hell of a time. I hope you have had a hell of a time. If you enjoyed the show, stick around, spank the subscribe button, give us a good old like if you liked it, and make sure to, again, follow Ben if you haven't already, because you will not regret it. With that being said, ladies and gents, much love, adios, we'll see you soon.